gotcha.
Record me?
I got your back. I'm gonna record this episode.
You're trying to make me try to do it all in one take?
Listen, I'm not afraid to push record and then say a bunch of stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I do.
That's the idea.
Alright.
I'm just making sure I know how to pronounce all the words here, you know.
I just thought you were swallowing.
Also that I was swallowing, yes. I just stared at him, trying to understand what he wanted, and trying to put out of my mind the yearning I felt to go to LaPush so that I wouldn't be swayed by my own wishes. It was stupid to want to go hang out with a big... Nope. It was stupid to want to go hang out with a bunch of big, idiot wolf boys right now when there was so much that was frightening and unexplained going on. Of course, that's exactly why I wanted to go. I wanted to escape the death threats just for a few hours, to be the less mature, more reckless Bella who could laugh it off with Jacob, if only briefly. But that didn't matter. Bella, Edward said, I told you that I was going to be reasonable and trust your judgment. I meant that. If you trust the werewolves, then I'm not going to worry about them.
That's how it's done. Cool. Hello.
Hello.
Hello and hi.
Hi and hello.
And welcome.
Welcome
to
Remember
Twilight.
My name is Emily.
And my name is Maren.
And
I'm gonna cry.
nobody wants to listen to this, but I want to say
Everybody
it.
has pushed stop. They've moved on to their podcast that they actually enjoy listening to.
Hopefully everyone knows by now that when you turn on our episode, you just press the fast forward 30 seconds.
You listen to the song and then you push skip
Mm-hmm.
until you get to when we actually start talking about the story. Oh my gosh.
Should we do a take two or just
Nope.
keep on keeping on?
Do it.
My name is Emily.
What? And
We already did that.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing it again because
Okay.
it was perfect the first time.
Anywho, this week we're talking about chapter 10, Scent.
Scent?
In for a cent, in for a pound, they always say.
I've never heard that. What are you talking
it's a
about?
penny. In for a penny,
Oh.
out for a pound. I don't know what it means.
Listen, I'm in for a scent. I love to smell things
Yeah.
and people. I always imagine that people who I like probably smell good.
Yeah,
It might not be true.
probably it isn't, but it's always good to think that it is.
I thought, okay, so I know you met Nicholas Brendan
I did, yeah,
a
two
couple
times.
years ago, and I was like, man, he probably smells so good, and he's probably so soft and squishy. But I see him nowadays, and I'm like, he probably does not smell good anymore.
He lost his good smell.
He has gone way down deep into some sort of
He started
abyss.
using the strawberry shampoo.
But what did we talk about last week?
Last week, Bella tried to do laundry, but she couldn't because
Oh,
it
man.
was stolen.
All of her best clothes were gone.
All of them.
Thank goodness.
Reset that wardrobe.
That's right.
Heck yeah. Go shopping with Alice. Immediately.
Oh man.
That's all I remember that happened.
That's the important thing that happened.
Yeah. We left off with Jacob coming over.
Right. It was all very childish. Why on earth would Edward have to leave for Jacob to come over? Weren't we past this kind of immaturity? It is immature, to be honest.
I mean, here's Edward, and he's like, I'm going to leave these two alone, but first, I'm going to breathe all over Bella.
Gross. But cool.
He thinks it's so funny.
He does. He laughs. You never see Edward laugh like this.
No.
You get it in the books, but if you're a movie Twilight person, you don't get to see Edward be so dumb and funny.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Yeah. He does like a whoosh around through all of her hair of a big breath.
And she's like, "Woo,
This I smell so
Edward.
good."
Oh, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Goodbye."
So he leaves. Bella decides to start doing the
No,
dishes.
he doesn't leave. He lopes off. What kind of an animal lopes? Is it a gazelle?
Yes.
A gazelle lopes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get that straight because Edward is not the only person who lopes in this book.
All the vampires
Just
do
so
at
you
some
know.
point, I think.
Yeah, so he lopes away.
He lopes away. Bella starts doing dishes, and Jacob is very quiet these days, and so she doesn't hear him come in or walk up behind her, and she just accidentally splashes herself when he gets there. Really gross.
Don't scare me like that.
Yes. Jacob is shirtless. Bella
Of course
points
he
it out.
is.
And he's rocking the jort luck again. So when she asks him about it, he shows her that his jort tether is on his ankle and explains that they have to just carry their clothes around with them because they don't just pop in and out of existence with them. They like shred anything they're wearing.
They're not like the Hulk, who
No.
for some reason his purple sweatpants just stretch.
Yeah, Tony Stark definitely invented the super stretch sweatpant for him, I think.
Good.
He's a nice friend to have.
I really want Bella to stop complaining about Jacob walking around half naked. It's a fine thing for Jacob to do.
He doesn't need a shirt.
No.
Nobody really does if you think about it. Anywho, Jacob goes upstairs to give Bella's room the sniff, and Bella just sits and cleans the same plate the whole time he's upstairs. Because she's trying to like listen if he makes any noises on like the floorboards or if she hears like the door move. And so she's like sitting here listening, and guess what? He pops up behind her and surprises her again, even though she was listening for him. He is
Cool.
so sneaky.
It'd be such a cool power to have.
There's silence.
Yes.
Poor Bella. She's just soaking wet now.
That's okay. Jacob is going to finish the dishes with her.
Yes.
It's really cool.
She does the wash, he does the dry. And he tells her that her room smells bad.
Disgusting.
Really gross. But that he did catch the scent. He asks her what life is like to have a vampire for a boyfriend.
It's the best, of course.
Of course.
How do you think it is?
Obviously. It's great.
He's gorgeous. He's smart. He's rich. He smells good.
He loves me.
What's not to like?
Hello. He's like, but don't you like ever get creeped out?
Never.
She's like,
no.
no. I don't know why Jacob wants to know all about their relationship, but then he's like, do you guys ever kiss?
And nope. This is a strictly no kissing relationship. We never kiss.
We only hold hands and stare into each other's eyes.
We're dating. We don't lay down with each other. There's no petting. There's no kissing.
No sleepovers.
There's no hair touching.
Mm-mm.
It's just a look. It's a looking only.
Mm-hmm.
It's all completely intellectual.
Really good. Bella happens to be cleaning a knife at this during this conversation, and so she hands it over to him to do the drying.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets into what he was really asking about, which is, when is the bite going to happen? She's like, oh, graduation. And Jakey B.
Oh, Jakey.
He's doing this new thing where instead of a jazz hand, he does like a hand clench to try to like
such a clench.
hold himself in so he doesn't like wolf out.
He's trying a new thing.
A new thing. The jazz hand would have been better because then the knife would have just fallen to the floor. Instead, Jacob does a grab on the blade and it's a big, big cut.
I am so tired of watching men cut their hands open for no reason.
This was like a near four-finger amputation kind of situation.
Please, fictional men of the fictional universes, stop cutting your hand open.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Sick of it.
Jamie did it the other day and stuck his hand in the gross river.
Yeah, he sliced his hand open, stuck it in the river, and then was like touching Claire, holding her hand, putting his clothes on, not bleeding. I don't understand.
Maybe Jamie also has werewolf healing powers.
I would believe that.
That's literally the only thing that could make sense about him.
I believe it.
Perfect.
In my head now.
Blood's everywhere. Bella, of course, is not equipped to handle this situation.
No, do you remember the poke and the grab and poke?
Yeah.
And
she is going to pass out.
Yeah. This is way more blood than the grab and poke.
Oh, infinitely more blood this time.
Streaming down the fingers, dripping on the floor.
It's everywhere.
Swearing, head spinning, stomach rolling, clinging to the side. but I needed to force myself to get a grip so that I could take care of him. But no, you don't need to, Bella.
Jacob's just standing there like, literally, it's fine. I'm just going to wash my hand off and it'll be no problem.
He's 27 years old, and he's a super special power kid.
Yeah, she doesn't know about this power yet, though.
No.
Bella's like literally about to call the ambulance, get him to the ER, but he's like, no, I promise, I am fine. But she wants to get a visual before she allows such a disobey of her orders. And so he like goes in for the high five. She grabs his hand and she does like a flip, 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 flip.
Is this the wrong hand?
Give me your other hand.
What's going on?
Nope, not there either, because guess what?
Already healed.
Freaking scarred over in 20 seconds.
Best power ever.
That's awesome.
Wait, this is the most convenient power that he has.
Yeah. I love a super healing.
Oh my gosh, me too.
It makes me feel way better about everything.
So good.
It doesn't come in handy later, but that's
No.
another situation for another time. Let's see. Oh, Bella, of course, gets out the bleach because they are very sensitive to blood around here.
Okay, she's super sensitive to blood. So is Edward, but she's a little too worried about this, and she uses an excess of bleach.
It's a dump on the floor.
It bothers me.
And I bet
It's
she's
too
not wearing
much.
her gloves again.
You know she didn't put gloves on. She's just pouring bleach, splashing it everywhere, dumping it onto things, putting it on the rag and wiping. It's dangerous and gross and destructive.
Yeah, unnecessary, Bella.
That's okay.
It's fine. Do what you have to do to feel better, I guess. Jacob then asks her what it's like to have a werewolf as a best friend. And Bella says, well, it's the best when he's being nice.
Also the best, but
you're annoying sometimes.
But then he's like trying to be funny. Does it creep you out? Same as before.
Yeah.
No, and not when he's being nice. Da da da.
Yep. Jacob gives her a big Hagrid hug and points out that her hair smells even worse than her bedroom. People love to tell Bella that she smells good or bad.
All of these men just constantly commenting on what she smells like.
Really makes you self-conscious, I think. But she's not about to give up her strawberry shampoo for anyone.
Nope.
Before Jacob leaves, he invites her to a bonfire happening that night.
Yes.
Yeah, so she can
Bonfire
meet...
beach party, you go to that.
Oh, yes, you do. She's got to meet Kim. She has to see Quill. But she says she's not sure if she can come. And he's like, but there's going to be 6 werewolves there.
Yeah.
It's safe.
It's fine. He doesn't like saying werewolf the same way that she doesn't like to say vampire.
Aw, they're nervous about it. Labels are dumb. I get it. It's fine.
She goes, I'll ask, I said doubtfully. He made a noise in the back of his throat. Is he your warden now, too? You know, I saw this story on the news last week about controlling abusive teenage relationships. And do you think Stephanie is being just funny? Because, as of now, in the writing of Eclipse, she has heard it all. And so she's like, I'm just gonna...
Jacob's gonna find it out.
Say it.
Yeah. Good catch. Jacob leaves and Edward comes back in immediately, and he asks Bella if they've been fighting, because Bella has left the bloody knife just laying on the counter.
And then Bella, who literally saw him less than 10 minutes ago, goes, Edward! And gives him a big hug and a kiss. And
Of course.
oh my gosh, they're so funny.
Bella confesses that she did not stab Jacob. Edward was hoping for a better story, though, as were we all. While Edward was out, he did some errands and got the mail.
He's nothing if not efficient.
Yes, he's good at time management.
Listen, when you have all the time in the world, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can do everything.
Mm-hmm. Guess what?
Chicken butt.
Bella has been accepted dun, 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 into Dartmouth.
What?
And she doesn't care.
No. Because honestly, how much money did the Cullens give this year?
$1 million at least.
She could not have been accepted, and I'll tell you why. She had fine grades, probably a 3.9. She's a very, very good student. However, 0 extracurriculars, 0 letters from teachers, 0 interviews with the college, 0 anything. She did not legitimately make it into Dartmouth. I'm sorry, but she didn't.
Edward is pulling the strings.
And so why should she care? She shouldn't be excited about this because she didn't get into Dartmouth. Edward got into Dartmouth for her.
Even if they did, like, take a year and go to college, she would be like, this sucks.
This is
I don't
way
get
too
to
much
read
work.
the books that I already read 5 times. I have to read new books. You better be giving me my own Cullen file because I'm reusing Alice's essays for
Honestly.
this. Edward tries to be like, but think about how excited Charlie and Renee would be. And she's like, yeah, they would be excited, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard enough to live until graduation, Edward. He assures her that she has no time limit. Yep. Nothing is rushed. She can take as long as she wants to.
But she has already sent her 75 cents to Alaska.
Yeah, okay.
That's what she had left over in her college fund.
She mails the contents of her
what is this?
savings account to Alaska.
Did she just mail it in large bills?
She must have.
And she didn't get a cashier's check?
No. I don't understand how you mail the contents of a bank account.
She withdrew it in 3/4, stuck it in an envelope. University of Alaska, and then put a stamp on it and sent it.
Bella. Very interesting here.
The contents of my bank account. I love it.
Edward wonders if she would even consider waiting, and she says no. Again.
Wow.
Bella goes to fix the rag that she put in the washer because everything's all unbalanced.
Because she only put a rag in the washer.
1 rag.
It's wait until you've got another few rags, maybe.
Listen, that's the only laundry she has left to do.
She did all the laundry earlier that day.
And then she remembers to have Edward ask Alice where all her dirty clothes went. As if she couldn't just ask Alice herself.
Call Alice. She has her
Edward,
cell phone in her pocket.
When you go home later, will you ask Alice what she did with my dirty clothes? No.
Edward is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. He's not stupid, and he's like, Alice wouldn't take your clothes, but your mysterious visitor definitely would have taken things with your scent on them.
Oh, so scary.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's so scary.
Yeah, Edward's like, listen, I'm gonna figure this out, and then his phone rings. Very convenient. It's Carlisle. And Carlisle tells Edward to look at the newspaper. So Edward has to go and get the newspaper out of the garbage. I love the way Bella describes this because he's like in and out super quick. And he comes back in and she's like, he had fresh diamonds in his hair.
It's just Rain, Bella. Oh my gosh. Stop making everything about him perfect.
Diamonds in his hair.
Honestly, I mean, you can just like sensationalize your partner as much as you want, but also let's have a reality check and realize that even though he is a vampire and he's super special and super beautiful and whatever, he's still just Edward Cullen who acts like an idiot all the time. Stop making everything about him special. It's rain in his hair.
Diamonds.
Hold on, I wrote something and I don't know why. He's talking to Carlisle, and of course Carlisle asks him if he's going to do something, and he goes, maybe I'll go. And then he looks at Bella, and he goes, no, send Emmett. And I'm like, Bella gets uptight about being babysat all the time, but she has a bad record. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't leave her alone either.
Yep.
No way. He's
deserves
right.
The babysit.
Anyway, so he comes back in with diamonds in his hair.
Uh-huh.
And a garbage newspaper.
Yes, and he shows Bella. And he tells her that they think that there must now be several new vampires in Seattle.
Ugh.
And that the Volturi is bound to come in and step in very, very soon if it keeps going on much longer.
So scary.
Totally. He says that they need to get more information. See if maybe Carlisle will adopt more vampire babies so they can just like go and collect them all and then teach them how to not be crazy. Otherwise, they're gonna pull out Jasper.
What a sweet plan. Let's cuddle them all in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's enlarge in the Cullen cult.
Yeah. New cult members ready to go. Just gotta go grab them.
Man.
Bella asks, why Jasper?
Yeah, Jasper.
And Edward's like, well, maybe you can have him tell you the story because I don't want to get into the my brother used to be a Confederate soldier conversation right now.
Nobody wants to talk about that. They barely even, they talk about it and nobody actually talks about it.
Nobody does.
But I really like that about Edward, and it's consistent throughout, is that he refuses to tell anybody else's story. He's like, no, I'm gonna let them talk for themselves, which I never do. I'm constantly telling other people's stories as if I know what they're up to. I appreciate that, Edward Cullen. Good job.
Good job. Yeah, so he's like, you'll have to ask him, but he is an expert on newborn vampires. Then he's like, hey, do you have anything to ask me? And she's like,
what?
Why would I want to talk to you? No, that's not what she's like.
No, but she's like, I have no idea. Nothing has ever happened in my life except for this moment right now. Mm-hmm. What are you talking about?
And he's like, I thought that I heard mention of like a fun night over on LaPush.
A werewolf soirée.
Yeah. And Bella's like, oh yeah, well, I wasn't even going to ask you about that because I know the timing is awful. And
what? No, go.
He's like, no, you don't need my permission. And she's like, well, maybe it would be nice to hang out with those big wolf idiot boys for a night.
So I just stared at him trying to understand what he wanted and trying to put out of my mind the yearning I felt to go to LaPush so that I wouldn't be swayed by my own wishes. I'm going to cut that line. I'm cutting that line.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So she thinks about it and she's like, you know what? Yes, I think I will go. And he's like, perfect. All I want is to be able to drop you off and to give you a cell phone. And she's like, those sound like things that would have happened whether you asked or not. So perfect. I agree.
Amen.
Charlie also is fine with the plan. Of course. Charlie's fine with any plan.
Yeah, man.
So she calls Jake and tells him that he needs to meet her at the line so they can do a little switcheroo.
Yep, he crows like a rooster.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he's crowing.
And wait, what?
What did you write? I'll help you.
I wrote this. Charlie's fine with the plan, so she calls Jake to have him meet at the line and pick her up. Bella decides to take it back to LaPush. I'm talking about the bike, but I never specifically say the bike. Bella decides to take her bike back to LaPush. Yeah,
she's not going to sell that baby.
Yeah.
Nope, it's going to be her and Jacob's little fun time.
Yes, and then when she becomes a vampire, he can do whatever he wants with it. So they have to go by the garage to get her bike before the drop-off.
I want to speculate for a second about Bella's reasoning here. Does she think that after she's a vampire, she's not going to want to ride a motorcycle anymore? Or does she think that she's not going to want to ride this specific motorcycle anymore? Or does she think that Jacob is not going to want to have anything to do with her?
See.
That is so sad.
Yeah.
That is just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she's doing this. She's making all this effort. She's trying as hard as she can to maintain this relationship and hold it together. And Jacob is just like, meh. After you're a vampire, I won't be your friend anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, that makes my stomach hurt. Jacob Charlie Black. I don't know what his middle name is. I am so mad at him right now for making... I mean, he's not, of course, making Bella feel anyway, but if he wasn't throwing such a fit about her turning into a vampire, everything would be fine.
Truly it would.
It's so dumb. And so she's going to all this effort. She's bringing the bike down there. She's making sure that she can hang out with him. She's only got a few days. I mean, she hasn't thought about that yet, but she only has a few days. And she's trying so hard to hold it together, and he is just like, well, goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Rude. Here comes one of my favorite parts.
All right.
So they're in the garage. She goes over to where she knows her bike is parked. And she sees that there's another bike there, but that it's like the Batmobile bike versus like a Tonka truck toy bike. And she's like, huh.
To call this other vehicle a motorcycle hardly seemed fair since it didn't seem to belong to the same family as my suddenly shabby looking bike.
Mm-hmm.
Edward.
And she's like, what is that? And he's like, it's nothing.
He's so embarrassed.
I wasn't planning on showing you this today.
Suddenly he's very embarrassed.
Uh-huh.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing.
It's obviously like the best motorcycle on the market or off the market right now.
He's got his hands behind his back. He's rocking back and forth on his feet. He's whistling. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, I didn't, no, I got it for...
He's so sweet though. He's like, I wasn't sure if you and Jacob would make up, and I know that you really like to ride bikes, so I thought that if I got a bike, then we could still do that together.
Edward! You're breaking my heart.
So Edward's over here being the cutest little guy, and then Bella's just like, these bikes represent me and Edward, and I look like that when I stand next to him, and he'll want to drive so fast, and my bike simply won't be able to catch up, and it won't be any fun for him. And he's like,
perfectly represents the two of us.
Bella, what is wrong with you?
I'm gonna cut all those lines.
Yes, please. Uh-huh. She can't get past these feelings to see that Edward's just being a sweetie. And so he's just like, it's fine. I understand this is a thing that you and Jacob do. I don't have to be any part of it. I just wanted the option to be there if you maybe decided that we could go on bike rides together.
I need the Edward version of this conversation, because the pain that he goes through in these 2 pages would take 10 or more from Edward's point of view, where he's like, I was not expecting her to see this. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm trying to de-escalate because obviously she's upset. I shouldn't have done this. This was a mistake. And then he smiled. It looked effortless except for the tiny defensive tightening of his eyes. You know, and then he's like, okay, this is fine. Don't worry about it. And then he laughs. I saw Jasper admiring it. I'll give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Edward.
During his motorcycle purchase, he also bought Bella a helmet and a jacket.
Yes.
And he's like, please just take these and wear them because I don't want you to get hurt. And she looks at it, and he got her this like cherry red helmet and
yes.
this like black leather jacket.
Because her bike is red.
Yeah.
Ugh.
She's like, I'm gonna look stupid. And he's like, no, you're gonna look smart.
Mm-hmm.
She tries them on. She feels like she looks really stupid, but Edward and I think that she looks incredible.
Hot. He just uses the word sexy.
That's
and
the first time
I'm
you said
telling
that.
you, I could get used to Edward using the word sexy. I have no problem with that. He does the weirdest thing right before he gives them to her. He takes his hands and he makes an idiot sandwich.
Yes.
And he goes, there are... He says the weirdest Edward line in all of the books. He goes, there are things between my hands right now that I can't live without. You could take care of them. Do you think that the editor just didn't read that line?
You could take care of your own brain.
The things. This is a weird way of saying be careful. Things.
Yeah,
Things.
Brains. Tissues.
Brains.
Skull,
bone structure.
Eyelashes.
Cute lips.
Memories.
Things. There are things
There's lots of things
between my hands.
Hair canals.
Okay, cool. So she looks super hot in that jacket and helmet.
Yeah.
Bella doesn't know how beautiful she is. She needs that Ed Sheeran song.
Let's see. Later that night, as they are driving toward LaPush, Bella points out that this is very much not unlike when Renee would drop her off with Charlie.
Yeah.
Which is uncomfortable.
Yes.
Nobody makes a comment about this as far as I remember.
Okay, hold on a sec. She goes, I didn't mention it out loud, but the biggest difference between the two circumstances was that Renee and Charlie had been on better terms. Do you think that they hooked up sometimes? Like, it feels like something Renee would do. And Charlie would just do it because he's Charlie and he loves Renee and he never got over her.
Whoa.
But, like, do you think that sometimes when they made the baby exchange, they also made a little baby exchange?
Baby exchange.
You know what I mean?
This is not something I was prepared to even think about.
But think about, like, that's... I was like, maybe this is part of the reason that it's been impossible for Charlie to get over Renee is because she has just been... Not only, like, she's Renee and she was his, like, true love of his life, but she's been stringing him along all of these years.
Yeah,
when
she takes advantage
been dropping off
every
Bella.
time. I hate her.
I hate her too.
No offense, but I hate her.
Okay.
I know that's not even canon, but it seems
it's not.
true to
I
me.
know. I just made it up in my mind because I feel like it's something Renee would do.
Yeah. Anywho, I don't know why I keep saying anywho. I'm trying to not say the
Oh, okay.
So now I have a
You're
new
moving
word
on.
to anywho.
Cool.
Help.
A lot of the times when I'll edit the videos, I'll go right after
Yeah, I cut out like 90% of the ums.
Yeah.
And they're still prevalent in episodes. And
yes.
oh boy, can I not stop saying
It's fine. I like it.
Thank you. So they drive about halfway to LaPush, and Edward pulls over, and she sees that Jacob's parked on the other side of the road. And so Edward gets all the Bella stuff out of the trunk, the bike, the jacket, the helmet, and he gives her the phone and he tells her to call as soon as she's ready to come home. And then he has a make-out sesh on the side of the road.
So funny.
Bella is fine with it. She gets a little breathless, but it ends eventually, and she grabs her bike and all her stuff and she walks it over to Jacob.
Well, they also made out before they left because he took that helmet off of her and he was like, you look totally sexy, and then they made out, and it says he drove me to LaPush a little while later. So they had a big long makeout session before they even left to LaPush.
These two love each other so much. When she gets over to Jacob, she puts the bike over and he gives her a big hug, and Edward speeds off. It's like, I don't want to know what you get up to while you're here. I'm leaving.
As I turned away from him, I thought I saw a flash of something in his eyes that I wasn't supposed to see.
Oh, yikes.
Worry maybe for a second. I thought it was panic, but it was probably just making something out of nothing. No, it was panic.
Yeah. Bella tells him that Edward is being very nice about all of this and to not push his luck. And Jacob just replies with, you can't push what you don't have.
Oh, what? Of course, Bella, Edward doesn't need to be pleasant or anything else. You get to be with your friend without worrying what Edward thinks. I wrote that for some reason. Yeah, these guys. Things are about to get really intense.
Really boring for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you about it. And then they get really intense.
Next chapter is chapter 11, which Emily and I feel a little bit differently about. I didn't think it was very boring. I liked it.
I don't know if I'm just like losing my mind, but it was very, very hard for me to like focus and read and take notes on this because I was like, this doesn't matter to the story. None of this matters.
It does matter.
It doesn't though if you think about it.
Oh, okay.
We'll get there. We'll talk about it next week.
That's right. All right, so that was chapter 10. Thank you for joining us.
So, remember, when your boyfriend goes outside and comes back in and he has rain in his hair, it doesn't have to be diamonds. It can just be rain.
Okay.
Let rain be rain.
Let rain be rain. All right. I love you guys so much.
I love you too.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. will always be.
Is will always be.